The Giver by Isabel Bustamante. Summary. Meet Jonas, an 11-year-old boy who lives in a rigidly controlled society sometime in the future. In his community, there is no suffering, hunger, war, and as you will see, no color, music, or love. Everything is controlled by the elders. They control who you will marry, who you receive as children, and what you will be assigned as a job. It seems that no one has really left the area except to visit other neighboring communities. To get released is a big deal. It only happens to sick infants or really old people or to people who break the rules. Because Jonas is almost 12, it's almost time for him to get assigned a profession. There's a big ceremony at which the decisions are announced. Jonas watches all his friends get their jobs, but then he's skipped over. The chief elder finishes the ceremony and explains that Jonas has been selected to be the receiver of memory, which is a big deal. Jonas looks over at the current receiver, an old man, like Jonas, who has light eyes. This is also another big deal. Jonas is one of very few people in the community with light eyes. So now that Jonas has been selected to be receiver, he gets a list of rules. They tell him he isn't allowed to discuss his training with anyone, that he's allowed to lie, and that he can ask anyone any questions he wants. Then Jonas starts his training. It consists of receiving a series of memories from the old receiver, who is now referred to as the Giver. These aren't just any old personal memories. Rather, the old man is passing on to Jonas all the memories of humanity going way back. The memories are from before their community was established, back when there was color, love, music, and emotions, and hills and snow and sunshine, all of which are notably absent from Jonas's world. The very first memory he receives is that of sledding down a hill in the snow. While Jonas gets to experience lots of fun things like Christmas and birthday parties, he also has to deal with the bad memories, like sunburn, loss, death, and warfare. This completely changes the way Jonas looks at his world. He realizes that no one around him has ever felt any real emotions at all. A year into his training, Jonas discovers that the process of release is really nothing more than a lethal injection. He and the Giver devise a plan. Jonas will fake his own death and run away to elsewhere, which is, for all intents and purposes, very similar to our world. Once Jonas leaves, the memories which the Giver has passed to him will be released to the general community, at which point they'll all just have to deal with the pain. They will also be free because they'll understand what it means to have choices. However, the plan doesn't work. While he's getting ready for the big escape night, Jonas finds out that the little baby with light eyes, Gabriel, is going to be released the next morning. He has to make a bicycle escape, taking the baby with him. Weeks later, Jonas is still biking away from the community with Gabriel. They're basically starving to death. Jonas keeps trying to transmit memories to the little guy, memories of sunshine and not starvation, in order to keep them going. Finally, it starts snowing. And Jonas gets to the base of a familiar-looking hill. He ditches the bike and walks up with Gabriel, still trying to cling on to the pleasant memories. When he gets to the top, the sled from the first memory he received from the Giver is waiting for him. He climbs into it and pushes off down the hill, fully convinced that at the bottom is elsewhere, and a whole group of people waiting for him. Title and setting. The term the Giver refers, of course, to the old man who transfers all his memories to Jonas. The name Giver and Receiver remind us of a book's central theme that memory is meant to be shared. The profession may be about holding memories, but they are more about passing them from one person to another. The transition from a receiver to a giver is an important event in the novel. The old man, of course, becomes the giver as soon as Jonas becomes a receiver, and Jonas becomes the giver when he gives his memories to Gabriel. He expresses love through the selfless act of handing over his best and brightest memories. Setting. Lois Lowry has created the Giver in an entire unique world. The world is very similar to our own, yet very different at the same time. For example, Jonas has a family with parents and a sister, but they are selected by a committee to form a family unit. Plot issues. The action in the plot moves steadily along, keeping the reader interested from the very first chapter. As the plot unfolds, we experience Jonas's frustration and anguish as he realizes he has been lied to by community leaders and even his parents. The government is keeping secrets from the community, like color, music, and what the outside world is like, until Jonas learns the secrets of the community and is determined to change the society. The plot is resolved by Jonas escaping to find a better life for himself and to make a better life for all of society by giving away his memories the Giver gave him. Problems and challenges. Throughout the novel, we see the struggle for originality and independence, the search for difference in the truth, and in the individual versus society. We also see the importance of memory and individualism. One of the most important problems in The Giver is whether to acknowledge or ignore memories. By giving them up, it is allowed to forget all the pain that has been suffered throughout humanity, but it also prevented members of society from wanting to engage in activities and relationships that could result in conflict and suffering. However, memory is essential. If you do not remember your errors, you may repeat them. Jonas learns that just as there is no pain without memory, there is also no true happiness. For many children, 12 is an age where they are struggling to carve out a distinct identity for themselves. The novel encourages readers to celebrate differences. Symbols. Throughout the novel, we see many symbols, some of which being the sled, the river, the bike, and the new baby Gabriel. The new child Gabriel is a symbol of hope and of starting over. Jonas takes Gabriel with him to save Gabriel's life, but his gesture is also symbolic of his resolve to change things, to start a new life elsewhere. He struggles to keep Gabriel alive, reflecting his struggles to maintain his ideals in the face of difficulty. The sled. The first memory Jonas receives from the Giver symbolizes the journey Jonas takes during his training and discoveries he makes. It is red, a color that symbolizes the new, vital world of feelings and ideas that Jonas discovers, but the sled can be scary too. The first memory of extreme pain that he experiences involves the sled. When Jonas finds a sled, it symbolizes his entry into a world where color, sensation, and emotion exist in reality. The river. The river, which runs into the community and out of it to elsewhere, symbolizes escape from the confines of the community. Jonas and the Giver are inspired to try to challenge the community by the idea of the river's unpredictable behavior. Characters. The Giver is a little bit of a mystery. He appears older than he really is because of the weight of the memories that he keeps. He seems completely isolated, but we find out he has an intense emotional connection to the girl he calls his daughter, Rosemary. To Jonas, he is a strange mix of a mentor, grandfather, friend, and even an accomplice. Jonas. Jonas is our main character and our hero. He is pretty impressive for a 12-year-old guy. He's contemplative, careful, pensive, mature, compassionate, and composed. He can take care of an infant. He's selfless. He seems to have no qualms about volunteering to bathe super old people. He treats the Giver with respect and bears pain without complaining. As a 12-year-old, he wants to hang out with his friends, so it frustrates him that his job seems to leave no time for doing so. He develops feelings for a girl named Fiona, which again is normal for a 12-year-old. Jonas's father. Jonas's father is a nurturer. He takes care of babies, and by takes care, we mean occasionally kills them. What's so hard to understand about his character is how he can be so nurturing and caring, and at the same time be so casual about unnecessary death. We see the community acting as the antagonist in the book as well. Morals and values. Within the novel, we recognize the morals to be respect of the individual, quest for the unknown, acceptance of imperfections, and the values being morality, freedom, individuality, and the evils of society. Effects. I personally have enjoyed reading this book very much. It has furthered my knowledge rather than when I read it in the 5th grade. Lessons learned. The Giver has much to offer young audiences. The story can help our youth to understand that we not only want to tolerate differences, but we want to be able to accept them and embrace them. Many young readers can relate to these feelings as they become aware of the injustices of their own societies and man's humanity. We discover that people need opinions, memories, love, and hate. Even though some may be wrong, it's necessary to be free. As for Condola and De La Salle, this book supports it in ways of acknowledging everyone's unique being and own personality.